Here is an interesting word. The word enemy. Do you have an enemy? Enemy, words and phrases. That's what we are looking at for the rest of today's live stream. The word enemy is a noun that means an opponent. Normally, in battle, if you are fighting, then you are in battle. Normally you fight with someone who is your enemy. So an enemy can be someone you dislike or someone you wish to fight with. That is the reason why enemies quite often will go into battle against each other. An opposing person or group seen as threatening or hostile. Some interesting words there. Someone who is hostile. Someone who is hostile is a person who is against you. Normally, in some sort of way, they will do something towards you that is seen as hostile. Perhaps an attack, perhaps something that is done against you. Sometimes because there is a certain reason for it happening. Other times, of course, it can be just because of hate. Let's face it, in the world at the moment, there is a lot of hate around, and I'm sure all of us have experienced it at some point, maybe even recently. In war, the opposition is referred to as the enemy. The enemy is the opponent. We call the person who is against you or the group against you the opponent. Maybe if you have a certain opinion, you will have an opponent, a person who is against that particular opinion. Again, it happens quite often. Even now, there has always been hate. Always. The opponent poses a threat. They are seen as the enemy. A person who is seen as your enemy is the person who is seen as against you. Maybe they dislike you for a certain reason. Also, the prefix enemy is placed before anything connected to the opponent. So you might put the word enemy in front of another word to show that that person is your enemy. Perhaps a place where your enemy is, the enemy base, enemy lines, the line that begins the area where your enemy is, the enemy line. During war, quite often there will be a line of people coming towards another line of people. That is how battles are often carried out. So we often describe the enemy line as the group coming towards you who are literally your enemy. Then we have enemy weapons, of course, the weapons used by your enemy. Enemy soldiers, the people coming towards you, marching towards you, they are your enemy. They are coming towards you. The word foe might also be used as well. Foe is an interesting word. The word foe is used to describe the person who is against you. Your enemy is your foe. The people you are fighting against is your foe. The word foe might be used to mean enemy in the singular sense. So quite often, a person who is fighting you directly can be described as your foe. They are fighting or battling with you directly. One single enemy. You can have one threat. So your enemy is a threat. They are someone who is against you, which means that in the future they might do something against you personally. A dangerous thing can also be an enemy, your enemy. Maybe if you live in a certain type of dwelling or house that is damp and cold, the enemy is the environment around you, the thing that is against you, the thing that might cause you to feel cold or unwell or become very sick, can also be described as the enemy. We might use the word enemy to refer to a rival or competitor. So maybe another business, maybe another group, a company that is your rival might be seen as the competitor, the person who is doing the same thing as you. They are competing. You might describe them as your enemy. They are working against you because they want to do the same thing. In a joking way, we might refer to an opponent in business as the enemy, sometimes as a joke. So we don't mean they are the enemy. We are using it as a joke, in a joking way. Two companies might have rivalry between them. They are both opposing each other because they are trying to do the same thing. But maybe just as a joke, they will describe each other as the enemy, even though they are not actually fighting against each other. In battle, the enemy is marching against you. They are coming towards you. The enemy is the opponent. Anything that is coming towards you in response might be described as the enemy, especially if their actions are hostile or violent. They can also be described as your adversary. An adversary is the person who is against you. The enemy is often described as an opponent, a rival, an attacker, a competitor, or the opposition. The force that is pushing against you is seen as the opposition. They might also be described as the enemy as well. Groups at war generally are described as enemies. So two groups fighting with each other are enemies. They both dislike each other as much as the other one. They hate those people and those people hate them. They are sworn enemies. We often see this in literature. You describe two groups of people as sworn enemies. This means that at some point you have both decided that you will always be enemies, always. And that is the reason why we use the word sworn enemies, because you have made a vow to be enemies with each other. Enemies can be rivals, as in not physically hostile. So this is something I mentioned earlier. Someone can be against you, but they are not violent. They are not physically hostile, even though they are your enemy. They are your rival. If you have a brand or a company or a product and someone else is doing a very similar thing, they can be described as your rival. The phrase, and there are some interesting phrases that use the word enemy. For example, enemy of the people. A person might be described as an enemy of the people. A dangerous presence in society. The presence, of course, is the actual occurrence of that thing in the form of maybe a person or a point of view or an opinion. It is seen as being against what society wants. The enemy of the people might be a terrorist, a person who wants to spread rumours about someone else. A dangerous presence in society can be described as an enemy of the people. Political opponents might describe each other as enemies of society or enemies of the state. Then we have another phrase. This is an interesting phrase, quite often not literal. So this is used quite often figuratively. Sleeping with the enemy. The term for a person who is marked as a traitor. So that person is involved with the enemy, even though they are apparently on your side. So someone who is with you, but they are also having contact with the enemy. We can say they are sleeping with the enemy. Sometimes literally, and sometimes figuratively. That is quite often how we use that particular phrase. The phrase, the enemy within, can also be a hidden danger. Something that exists in society, for example. The enemy within. Extremism. A group of people who want to do bad things to others might be seen as the enemy within. Maybe the enemy within a government or the enemy within a certain society can be a hidden danger. They are the enemy within. We can also have a phrase, and this is a great phrase, a good phrase. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It allows you then to observe them, to watch them, to keep an eye on them. You have their trust. Even though you know they are your enemy, you keep them nearby, you keep them close. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And then you can watch them. You can observe what they are doing. So I think it's a very interesting word, a small word, but just like many words in English, the small words are often the most interesting. They are the most interesting things because they quite often have a lot of meaning. Yes, quite often in politics, you can have an enemy of the state or an enemy of the people, a person who is seen as being dangerous to that particular society. It can happen.